What's going on, boys? Thanks to our patrons and Fiverr customers, subscribe to our Patreon free for behind-the-scenes stuff, arm yourselves, life stuff. We received an influx of subscribers recently, and I won't stand for it. Let's take this opportunity to push some people away, viewers new and old. And I think we're breaking this video up into 3 parts. Current events, past events, and then some actions, or preparations. We live in a political world, and I live in an especially political area. You can't go anywhere without someone trying to start a conversation with you about Trump. I voted for him in 2016 because I believed at the time people were basically decent, most people were basically decent, and things could get better. And I learned my lesson. That was, in that entire period, I was learning lots of lessons about grifting. But at that time, I hadn't taken the glow pill yet. I hadn't even begun to perceive the control frequencies. This is the evolution of the great game. We said a long time ago Trump isn't on your side, because the CIA doesn't miss. And we're now beginning to see that clearly. I really wish I had money to be doing stock bullshit. I really wish I didn't get arrested at the beginning of COVID and needed to pull my money out of my stocks. Fuck. And we're not looking at politics as a this person good, that person bad, or even this policy or idea good, this policy or idea bad. We're looking at it from an all of them and all of it bad for us lens. All of it. Because I think the game ultimately on the higher plane level is all about control. When you're on top, and I don't think we really know who's on top, because either there is a super high top that we can't see, or there are lower spots that are actually the top, and we don't know who they are. People act like people are people, and people fuck up, but people are not people. But when you're one of these entities on top, your game is how do you reap the benefits of sentient tools with none of the downsides. And I don't think material and material gain plays a part in it, but I think there's something in figuring out how to control large numbers of people, sentient beings, beyond just the material. And I don't know what that is yet. But there's an emerging pattern. And it was bad back in 2016, but it's even worse now. And that pattern is you're defending you're getting fucked. You get fucked on one side, and then you think getting fucked on the other side is an improvement. And you see, the thing is, it's not even the fact you are getting fucked that's important. It is you're defending you're getting fucked. That's the key. I really don't think much else matters. Because once you, your ancestors, your parents, your grandparents, or your descendants, your children, your grandchildren, have been moved into a mental state in which you will defend you're getting fucked, it doesn't matter what happens. And that's one of the reasons Trump's getting shot was so fascinating to me. If the CIA wanted him dead, he would be dead. So what does that event do? When you're looking at it from this gigantic mound of sludge slowly rolling downhill and destroying everything, destroying your sentience, or barring you from your potential ascendance, how does that further your learning to control yourself. On the material side of things, I think that's clear enough. The body of control needs nutrition to operate. But what is the end game of control? Because it feels like we're speeding up. Things keep getting worse. And it doesn't matter what flag you're flying or what level of sophistication you're flying it with. You can get super complicated if you want to. It doesn't change the fact you're getting fucked. And it's your people fucking you. And you defend them harder the worse it gets. Whether that worseness is coming from the other side, quotes, or your side, it keeps getting worse. Are we preparing for aliens? Are we preparing for demons? Are we getting, or are we, no, you wouldn't prep the AI bull. It's more like the AI is prepping you, but you aren't the bull. Is the AI bull prepping the corner sitter? Like you're being groomed to watch and be happy about it? And it's not just the speeding up I'm confused and worried about. It's also the fact we haven't been brushed aside. That's one of the reasons I think there's some awful component to this we aren't even seeing yet. Why is it not enough to kill us or imprison us? Brush us aside, get rid of us. Why is it so important our minds and essences are controlled? Or we're prevented from developing essence? Because this AI shit, I like AI, or if I don't like AI, I have a lot of mixed feelings about it, but it's essential, I think. But why is it so important we be kept around and controlled? And the reason I brought up AI was, I keep saying this, but I can't believe how pervasive AI is in people's daily lives. People are using it to think for them now. It's like groupthink and crowd hysteria without the need for a crowd. The only thing you're teaching yourself is how to do as the highest authority says and to believe what the highest authority says. And then to defend it against everything else because you received this information from the highest authority, meaning if you're doing these things and believing these things, saying these things, then you can't be wrong because you are following the highest authority's will. On every level, you are learning to obey. And to protect your obedience because your worldview and self-esteem, any positive feelings whatsoever, rely on this higher authority, this higher will. And again, it's not just one higher authority, it's in every field you are trained both not to think for yourself at all. Well, actually, no, it's not that you aren't thinking for yourself at all. It's that you think what you've been told to think. And that's the key, but then also to eliminate all other or outsider anythings. But then it gets more complicated because in certain instances, the people you're fighting are learning the same things you are, and it's like in trying to defeat one another, you are deepening the belief pattern or the thought pattern or the obedience pattern you both share. Because again, it's not what's happening, it's about your life getting worse and you're acting like that's a good thing. And I think part of the reason this is happening is it is still currently possible for people to ascend, but it feels like ascendance is all about figuring out how to control people and fuck them and make them love getting fucked and not care about it. Or for the ascending individual, it's all about developing a skill and eliminating squeamishness. Because it seems like right now there are only two sorts of people who succeed: favored servants of some god, the most effectively obedient, and ascending gods, people who are climbing the ladder. Now, of course, the gods are succeeding, but we don't even know who they are. And this brings us, I mean, well, we're not done with the last segment, but it's like your mind is capable of glimpsing only parts of what's actually going on. Both because you are still mostly in the Matrix, but also because of the intensity of the Matrix. This thing is designed to keep you inside of it. Meaning it's not just throwback. It's not just take the red pill or put on the sunglasses and to see clearly, because if you can see it at all, then you aren't seeing it. It's like what's actually going on is a totally separate layer of reality over top of this one, like another layer of space-time. It's everywhere. And in some cases, it's like your mind doesn't want to accept it. We often talk about the difference between understanding something and knowing something. I still haven't worked out how you jump from understanding something and knowing it. I recognize when it's happened, but every time it happens, I don't do anything. It's just yesterday, I understood what was going on, or thought I understood what was going on, but didn't know it. And then tomorrow you know it, or today you know it. So I've been thinking about modernism again. When aren't you thinking about modernism? It's weird realizing we're still living in the echo of World War One. As in, World War Two was stinky, but it existed on the frequency World War One set. There are a bunch of ways to look at World War One, but the way I look at it, World War One was the moment we realized we built a world hostile to us, hostile to our existence, to our nature, and we can't go back. Blood Meridian doesn't annoy me as a book. I got annoyed with Blood Meridian because it's like a bunch of retards jumped into it because of memes, and then they don't want to analyze at all. That's another fucking annoying thing. You fuckers talk about Western civilization so much, you don't understand the culture of the civilization you're supposed to be championing. You losers. You stupid, stupid losers. And that's another reason things should be gatekept. Yeah, keep the mind slaves away from anything decent. Don't let them get their dirty, muddy-brained hands and voices around it. Anyway, what's the line? War is the ultimate end, awaiting its ultimate practitioner, which is man. The book says it better, but the idea, we're on a singular track to one terrible thing. That's what World War One is. Even if we bombed ourselves back into the Stone Age, we would still come right back here one day. We are designed to build our own hells. And that's another reason postmodernism as a concept is fucking stupid. We aren't out of modernism. We aren't past the modern. Now, you might have developed a different way of looking at the situation, but you still aren't out of the situation. And that's what I'm concerned we are racing toward. Are we about to resolve modernism, or are we about to put a son of a bitch spin on it? Neither is good. A common way of looking at modernism or World War One, or the little phrase, is the looking glass shattered, or the shattered looking glass. I like thinking about it as a frequency like a bell tolling, because it echoes, and we're existing within the echoes. Echoes of echoes, all coming from the same source, the same scream of sense dying in the gas, but what does it mean? Right, and that's another thing. You can look at things multiple ways. You don't need just to look at things one way. One of my favorite things Terence McKenna said, and we quote semi frequently on this channel, why have just one answer? You can have multiple answers. So, although I like the echo thing, it's possible and even useful to think about things in a different way. Let's look at the shattered looking glass example. What does it mean if we're resolving modernism, if that's the route we're going? What does it mean to repair the looking glass? You could look at it as a return to sense, but I don't think that's what's happening. I think if this is the route we're going, and that might very well be the route we're going, I'm not sure. Again, what's the point? We need to be here to witness it. Why do we need to be here to witness it? You're not returning to sense, because it's not that sense was broken, it was that the illusion of sense was broken. There was never any sense. Meaning, if it's this return to sense that we're moving toward, it's not sense we're returning to, it is a particular outlook that will be the standard and is certainly going to be benefiting somebody. The person who puts the looking glass back together is going to benefit them. That's bad ending A. That, to me, again, I don't know what's going to happen, but it seems like if that's the route we're going, the repairing of the looking glass is going to be you defend getting fucked somehow. And when you think about it from that angle, we're pretty close to that. Not totally, thankfully. There might be some fractures rising archons could crawl through, but people really like defending getting fucked as long as they are getting fucked in a way that they're told is good to be fucked in. But then you have the other option, the other bad ending. Instead of, quotes, repairing the looking glass, you put a real spin on the already shattered looking glass. You shatter it even worse. And it feels like we're pretty close to that too. Because you go back to World War I again. That technology was there, but we hadn't shot ourselves in the head yet. We're in a very similar situation right now. We are again at a point we are dealing with death technology that makes fighting seem pointless, hopeless. I don't know if you get recommended those videos by those guys who do those thermal goggles, thermal optics experiments. You don't have a chance. And of course there are people who can figure out how to deal with this, but what happens when things or technologies that will have Geneva Conventions Part 2 written about them later, after they've been inflicted on people, once those things start getting inflicted on everybody worldwide, when there's no longer a person untouched by death technology in some way. A second shattering. A shattering of what? Maybe the looking glass that's being repaired, but you would think people, if the powers that be wanted the looking glass repaired, then they wouldn't force the world into a situation in which it's going to be shattered again brutally. What are we being prepped for? Why is the only constant that things get worse? Why are people so excited to defend their being controlled? They're being trained to control themselves in whatever form. Because again, it's not the thing, it's that you can be made to appreciate your life being made worse. Why are people so uncomfortable with their own thoughts, trying to develop their own thoughts. And then that begs another question. Are your original quotes thoughts actually original? Because it's so creepy. People are aware that, when you talk around your phone or around electronics or something, you'll start getting advertised stuff, but it seems so much more fine-tuned than that. It's not just talking, it's not just what you've searched. It's more like, again, the powers that be have such a defined or refined profile of your psyche. They know how to make you think things without your thinking anyone made you think them. They know how to get certain things in front of you without, or making you go to certain things that will make you think other things, making you feel totally in control, making you feel your thoughts are totally original, and they aren't. You were led to have them. Is that why you're being let in on even the smallest aspects of the secret? Because I notice it feels like the more you learn, it's not just noticing that things are bad. You feel almost invited by some force to learn how to be as horrible as the powers that be are. Because it's not really horrible, it's life. And people deserve to be treated the way they're treated by the powers that be. And do you want to be one of the people controlled, or do you want to learn how to be one of the controllers? Do you want to figure out how to climb the ladder? And those are the sorts of people we mentioned earlier. Those are the sorts of people, one of the sorts of people who are actually succeeding nowadays. You ever deal with somebody who's really fucked up, but also successful? They talk sense. So I don't know what's going on. What I see is refining cycles of training for the controlled class, the slave class, and I don't know why they're so important. There are better ways or easier ways to control them. And why is it so necessary they exist? Why is it so necessary they believe? Right? You could just oppress them if you wanted to. You aren't doing that. You could just erase them if you wanted to. You aren't doing that. Why is it so necessary they stick around but also believe what they're supposed to believe in a self-sustaining way? What's going on at the top? What are we racing toward? Actually, let's jump into the third section. Things to do. 1. Stop believing things are going to get better. That's how you ensure you stay controlled. Start thinking away from the things that are in front of you. If your original thoughts are actually your original thoughts, then those are the thoughts you need to be having. They'll take you where you need to go if there's a place you need to go. Or if they aren't actually your original thoughts, then these are the orders you're receiving, and you will be led where you're supposed to go for higher training, different sort of control. Buy a black collared shirt and wear it. Buy a gun and other things and learn how to use them. Eat the raw garlic and the honey. This can't keep going on. I mean, it can and it will, but it feels like something is supposed to happen. It feels like there is something you're seeing, but you can't understand it and you can't do anything about it. Like you're on a roller coaster and there's this huge set piece off to the side that you're supposed to be focusing on, but it's incomprehensible. But there's some sense to it, but all you can do on your roller coaster, it's a Flintstones ass roller coaster, is choose to keep walking upward in the only way you can walk upward to do something when you get up high enough, maybe. It feels like a disaster is coming, and you're finding your way to some old hidden spaceship that will lead you back up to the mothership. But the ship you're looking for might not exist. It really feels like we're on some track somewhere, but is there a somewhere? I have no idea. But there is for sure something going on, and if nothing else, you can see that at least. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't.